be here. Welcome back to the stream. Let's see. Yep, there we go. Where we play non-violent games that reward us for engaging with them intellectually and or emotionally, as opposed to rewarding us for any kind of violent accomplishments. We're going back to the Great Ace Attorney today.
Hold it!
Light fog, you say?
Well, light for London. You can see the opposite side of the street for once. Not much farther, though.
That's light, is it?
Around these parts, yes. Not something I'd expect. Not something I'd expect a Japanese fellow like yourself to know, of course.
I think that's... Let's see, what voice did I give him?
Yes, my lord. I have a photograph here.
Around these parts, yes. Not something I'd expect a Japanese fellow like yourself to know, of course.
I've read that London is famous for its fog, but in my country, people usually imagine that gives the city a rather beautiful appearance. I don't... I usually know how to pronounce that, and yet I'm blanking on it. How quaint.
How quaint. Yes, well, it's not something us London... it's not something us Londoners tend to romanticize, as I expect you could appreciate.
I see.
At this time of year, the fog causes a large number of accidents, especially when it's heavy. At this time of year, the fog causes a large number of accidents, especially when it's heavy. Sometimes you can't even see your own hand at the end of your arm. Sometimes you can't even see your own hand at the end of your arm.
Indeed. The other day, I was very nearly trampled by horses before I could see the carriage they were pulling. Ugh. Saw the sun, I should definitely remember to stop, look, and listen.
However, on the day that concerns us, the fog was somewhat lighter than usual. A fact no doubt lamented by the accused. Visibility was reasonably good, and there was no one else about but the victim and the accused.
Alright, sorry, just had to check something.
Hold it!
How are you able to state that with any certainty?
Quite simply, my learned friend, because that is what the witnesses to this crime have told us.
Ah yes, Inspector Gregson mentioned the witnesses yesterday, didn't he? That's right. One of them is a policeman, I believe, from Scotland Yard.
That is correct, ma'am. That is correct, ma'am. That is correct, ma'am.
Then we must hear their testimony.
The prosecution will, of course, call them to the stand, should it be necessary.
But wait a minute. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon, in the middle of winter, it would have been dark already. No matter how light the fog might have been, no one could have seen...
I'm unaware of the situation on your tiny island in the east. But here in the capital city of Great Britain, all main roads are illuminated in the night by gas streetlights.
Ah!
And the prosecution believes there would have been ample light by which to witness the crime.
Here in London, for the first time in history, mankind has completely conquered the darkness. Which means we really need to hear those witness statements. If I could just get through the fog of this cross-examination, maybe we'll be able to... It seems the Counsel for Defense is taking stock. Continue with your testimony, Inspector. Out of the blue, the victim was stabbed from behind and subsequently collapsed on the pavement. The accused ran off, scattering his belongings all over the floor. Those being a number of old books he just bought. He was on his way home from a bookshop, it seems. It was just a oh, wait. Oh, hold on. Hold it! From behind, you say?
That's right. As you can see from this print. That's right. As you can see from this print.
Yes, quite so, Inspector. The handle of the weapon is clearly protruding from the victim's back. And you say this poor woman, Miss Green, remains in critical condition. Comatose, no less.
I'm afraid so, my lord, yes. She's being treated at Bart's. I was hoping that she'd come round before the trial started so I could take a statement.
But now I'm going into, like, Southern. I was hopeful she'd... Sorry.
Take the cry. Take it.
I was hopeful that she'd come round before the trial started so I could take a statement, but it wasn't to be.
Yes, that is indeed a pity. It would have been most illuminating to hear the victim's own account of events.
Luck is on your client's side, it seems.
On the contrary, my client has been exceedingly unlucky.
Your force of tone is seriously undermined by those disturbingly wide eyes, I'm afraid.
Hold it! The student had seen his belongings.
I think you'll find it's all there in the photographic print of the crime scene.
Yes, there are 3 books on the floor.
That's right, my lord.
Second-hand books they were.
Irreparably damaged after falling in the snow, of course. The accused could easily have carried all 3 books in one hand, which means his other hand would have been free to wield a knife, for example.
He's very clever, isn't he? What do you mean? He's made it extremely hard for you to assert that Mr. Natsume had his hands full with the books. He's managed to close the one avenue of escape we might have had before we even knew it was there. You mean to say that the defendant was holding his belongings as he thrust the knife into the woman's back?
That must be what happened, my lord, yes. That must be what happened, my lord, yes. Those being a number of old books he'd just bought. He was on his way home from a bookshop, it seems.
Hold it! The defendant apparently visits a second-hand bookshop on a daily basis.
Yes, so I understand. Shop full of old English literature.
Let's go into Southern again.
I commend the accused on the lofty subject matter of his scholarly attention. The bloke's room was stacked floor to ceiling with those musty old books.
Can you tell us more about the bookshop in question, please, Inspector?
Well, if I must, I'll have to ask you to look at the street map again, I'm afraid. The closest second-hand bookshop to the accused's lodgings is this place here, Bourbon Books. A little place on the corner of Briar Road. A little place on the corner of Briar Road and Mearsham Street. As it happens, the accused is currently living in Lawton's on the other side of Briar Road, at the opposite end. The other side of Briar Road at the opposite end. Which means it doesn't take a genius to work out the route he would have taken home. Something like this.
No. Yes, I concur with your conclusion, Inspector. The defendant would certainly have passed the scene of the crime on his way home from that particular shop. Mr. Naruto, I think that what the inspector just told us could turn out to be of vital importance. Yes, I agree. The most important point that the inspector just made being... Some of the history. I didn't say anything about the bookshop shop, but bookshop stock, right? So there we go. It's the bookshop's name. Inspector Gregson, may I ask you a favor?
What?
Would you kindly add the name of the bookshop to your formal testimony, please? I believe it may be of vital importance.
Maybe.
Oh, well, you know. I mean, yes. Yes, it could be a very important clue. Very well. Not that I can see it being of any great significance. But please revise your testimony accordingly, Inspector.
Yes, sir, my lord. Whatever you say.
No, man, be any more sardonic?
Yes, my lord. Whatever you say. He was on his way home from Bourbon Books, a second-hand bookshop he apparently patronizes. He was on his way home from Bourbon Books. He was on his way home from Bourbon Books, a second-hand bookshop he apparently patronizes.
Objection!
If I could just stop you right there, Inspector Gregson.
What is it, Sunshine? I'm a busy man, you know.
This is a receipt that we found in Mr. Natsume's room. It was issued on the day of the incident and details the purchase of 3 second-hand books.
And you found that in the accused room, did you?
Yes, but the point is not where the receipt was found, but the name of the shop printed on it.
Go on.
This receipt was issued from a bookshop called Your Books. Your Books? Y-O-R-E, I presume. Yes, my lord. So, Mr. Natsumi did indeed purchase a number of books at a second-hand bookshop that day. However, the bookshop in question was not Bourbon Books.
Eh? What?
Inspector, do you know of this other bookshop?
Yes, sir.
Your Books is another second-hand bookshop not far from Bourbon Books. It's just that, well, it's such a small place.
I didn't think the accused would have known about it.
Well, it's such a small place, I didn't think the accused would have known about it.
Objection!
But in fact, that is the bookshop which the defendant visited on the day in question. And this receipt proves it.
Objection!
Yes. But what difference it makes. Wherever the man purchased his musty tomes, it makes no difference in the final analysis. I disagree. I mean, after all, I have the street map here, if that might be of help. Oh, yes, thank you. Have a look at this, please. If the defendant had been returning from Bourbon Books, then yes, he would almost certainly have passed the place where Miss Green was attacked. However, if we take into account the fact that he was actually at another bookshop, Your Books, it may very well have turned out that he wouldn't have passed that location at all.
Would that be true?
My. It rather depends on where this bookshop is, but I do declare that may be a possibility. Is that right, Mr. Lawyer, sir? What you just said? Is that right, Mr. Lawyer, sir? what you just said. Absolutely. It absolutely could be right. Inspector Gregson, where is this Your Books establishment?
Well, obviously we looked into that. It turns out that Your Books is just here on the next corner of Mearsham Street, going east.
And there you have it, as you can clearly see now. Oh.
My learned Nipponese friend is obviously in training to be a clown, the way he regales us with such witticisms. To your future career in the circus.
You put that glass down now, or I'll put it down for you.
I, didn't think I needed to spell it out, but here we go. If the accused was coming home from Your Books instead of bourbon books, there's no doubt he still would have passed the place where the victim was stabbed.
Yes, thank you, Inspector.
Allow me to reiterate for my learned, somewhat slow Nipponese friend. Wherever the man purchased his musty tomes, it makes no difference in the final analysis. Ah!
As I suspected, you can't fool me, and I don't suggest you try. No, hold on. As I suspected, you can't fool me, and I don't suggest you try. As I suspected, you can't fool me, and I don't suggest you try.
What did I say? I've had enough of this now.
Beg your pardon. Terribly sorry about would you mind repeating that? Mr. Naruto, we mustn't give up. What do you mean? If the prosecution's assertion is correct, the members of the jury may very well decide that Mr. Natsume is guilty. She's absolutely right. We must think. We must consider the assertion just put forward by the prosecution very, very carefully. They claim Joseki-san must have passed the location of the incident on his way home from Your Books, but the assertion just made by the prosecution is fundamentally flawed. Explain yourself, counsel. Yes, my lord. You can see what I mean on this map. When returning from Your Books to his lodgings, Mr. Natsume could have followed the route suggested by the prosecution. However, that isn't the only conceivable route to take between the two places. If the defendant used these streets, look what happens. He arrives back at his lodgings without passing the location where the victim was attacked.
Talking back to a clown is a fool's errand, of course. However, I feel compelled to point out that route is what is commonly referred to as the long way round. On a cold winter's night, why would any man choose to take a longer route home? Well, the answer is extremely simple. He wouldn't. In other words, the accused took the obvious route back to his lodgings and is the obvious perpetrator of this crime.
But, aha, yes, I've got it. Obviously, we must ask the man himself. Ask Mr. Natsume which route he took home.
I have already informed the court of the accused's response to such questioning. He claims he has no recollection. That's right. As I said, the bloke seems to spend his time outside wandering aimlessly from A to B. That day was no exception. He says he doesn't remember where it was or which route he took home.
I don't believe this!
I thank you, my learned friend, and suggest that we do not waste any more of the court's time by wandering aimlessly around this subject. Pray, what say you, insightful jurors?
But even if that is the case, the defense still...
I agree with Lord Van Zeeks.
Hold on, let me listen to Fairplay's voice.
I agree with Lord Van Zeeks, wholeheartedly and in every way.
What? I don't believe it. Does this mean...
We members of the jury are completely convinced now. We members of the jury are completely convinced now.
Very well, in that case, I hereby call upon all members of the jury to present your findings to the court.
Guilty!
Guilty. Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
It would appear that Jennings' leaning is unanimous.
To the insightful members of the jury, I applaud your brave resolve. You serve Queen and country admirably.
Mr. Naruto? No, not yet. This isn't over yet. I still have one last chance to sway the opinion of the jury. I have to tip the balance of those scales the other way. I have to turn this around, somehow.
Those are the eyes of Quarry not yet willing to give up and die. So I presume you intend to wield your rights again in this trial. Rights of the defense written into antiquated British law that should have been buried long ago.
Call it antiquated if you will, but it's the defense's prerogative to carry out a summation examination if it so chooses. Very well, counsel. In accordance with the letter of the law, we shall proceed with the summation examination. Are the members of the jury ready, Mr. Foreman?
Of course we're ready. I'm all too familiar with that Nipponese whippersnapper and his outcast refusal to throw in his alley.
Very well then. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will each explain on what grounds you have determined the defendant to be guilty.
For pity's sake, the little Nipponese already admitted it himself, didn't he?
It is said that a woman in green collapsed before his eyes. Why, it could only have been the victim. The man wouldn't have gone around the houses on his way back from the bookshop. Not in winter. So the poor woman was attacked from behind, was she? How dreadful.
I really don't care. Can't we just wrap this up now? I've got work to be doing.
Your books, yes. Nice shop, that. But bourbon books? Oh, no, not worth a visit. With only minor exceptions, the reasons for finding the defendant guilty are too clear.
When the stabbing occurred, the only two people at the scene were the victim and the accused. And the accused himself has admitted to seeing the victim in a green overcoat sink to the ground before his eyes.
Furthermore, we have heard from the inspector that the defendant then fled the scene. I must say, I would have ample grounds to convict this man already. Oh dear, even the judge appears convinced of Mr. Natsumi's guilt now. Why did he have to run away like that? How are we supposed to believe in some phantom attacker that nobody could see? This is impossible. How can I possibly make a case for the defense? Mr. Naruto, this is no time for grumbling. If we want to force the trial to continue... Yes, I know. I have to turn the tide. I must make the jurors change their minds. Well, 4 of them at least. Exactly. We have no choice but to forge forward. You have the floor, counsel. Begin your summation examination. Yes, my lord. I just need to keep this trial going somehow. Whatever it takes. Come on, Ryunosuke, you can do it.
Hold it!
Excuse me, but aren't you...
Yes, that's right. I was in the witness stand myself just 2 days ago.
Yes, I had a feeling I knew your face. Or the sight of it, anyway. If I remember correctly, you're a banker, aren't you?
That's right. After the gold rush down under, I came back to London for work. And it was all going swimmingly until you started fossicking around. Bruce Fairplay is a man of repute.
Sorry?
Don't think I've forgotten how you treated me the other day. You had me and that young hatter pegged as criminals.
Oh, well, you know, water under the bridge.
Now there's all sorts of rumors buzzing around, and the police have been badgering me non-stop.
If I could turn back the clock...
Well, anyway, I don't know about the hatter, but at least I'm in the clear now. And free to make up my own mind about who's guilty and who isn't.
Thank goodness. Alright, maybe I might struggle to change this man's mind given our awkward history. Oh dear, I wonder what's become of Mr. Frisk now. You know, jurors are supposed to be unbiased.
Hold it!
You're right that at the time of the incident, the defendant admits to having seen someone wearing a green overcoat walking ahead of him. Well, quite. That's precisely my point. Clearly, that someone wearing green was the victim. And clearly, that funny little Nipponese man with the disturbing mustache is the culprit. Well, let us not forget, madam, the defendant vehemently denies attacking the woman. Why, of course he does. If he admits to stabbing her, his life is over. But the man is obviously a liver-faced coward. Honestly, claiming the woman simply collapsed before his eyes. But if that's a lie, as you're suggesting, do you not think he would have concocted something more credible? Oh, I really couldn't say. After all, you are foreign. Who's to say what goes through your funny little minds? I could tell you what's going through my funny little mind now, but you wouldn't like it. I do declare, the man has already made the admission. He admits himself has stated that there was nobody else around. Surely the conclusion was obvious. No one else could possibly have committed this crime. If no one else could have done it, the accused must be the man. Really, it couldn't be more simple. Your argument is compelling in its simplicity, I must admit. Oh my, you are too kind, my lord. That went well, for her.
Hold it!
But you can't deny that there are other routes Mr. Natsume could have taken from your books. Yes. Like you do on the map, you mean. What was it? Calamus Road, or something. Precisely. But it seems to me that what counts is whether the little Japanese fellow actually went that way or not. Well, yes, that's true. And at the moment, there's no proof that shows he did, is there? Well, yes, that's true as well. And as I understand it, the accused himself doesn't remember which way he went, does he? Well, yes, that's annoyingly true. Winter nights are dark and cold, so the way I see it, you'd want to get home as quickly as possible. Well, yes. Why is all this true? So really, the only thing that makes sense is that he went home along by a road. Supposed to be convincing you here. I have given a lot of thought, you know. I didn't just make up my mind on a whim that he did it. I mean, if there was some logical reason why he might have gone the Calabash Roadway, it'd be different. I'd be happy to reconsider my position in that case. Honest, I would. A reason why Saseki-san might have taken the longer way home. Yes, a good reason. I don't imagine you'll be able to sway this young man's opinion without one.
Hold it!
Whatever is the matter, young man? You're the wife of Mr. Gardev, aren't you? The landlord who rents Mr. Natsume's room. The master's wife? Where do you get your ideas, sir? I'm the maid, you understand. She's keeping up that charade? Ugh, this is gonna be awkward. Why didn't you mention this yesterday? That you'd been selected for the jury in this trial, I mean. Well, I was told not to mention it to anyone until the day of the trial, you see. It was in the letter I received. The instructions were very clear, so I'm afraid I had no choice. I see. Anyway, Mr. Natsumi, the defendant, takes lodging in your master's house, doesn't he? Yes, that's right. Although he's only been in little over a week now. And in that time, surely you must have taken stock of his character. Does Mr. Natsumi look like the kind of man who would commit such a crime as this? Oh my goodness me, yes, he's just the sort. What? Spending all his time in that dark and dingy room, sporting that unscrupulous mustache, and the man never speaks, and don't get me started on those shifty eyes. All the neighbors are talking about him. I've heard them, you know. People think he must be building a bomb in there or something. Oh dear. Poor Mr. Natsume. How could people say such things about him? He's just a harmless bookworm, nothing more. Well, you just called him a worm, so... Anyway, I'd better be careful about inviting this maid to speak. She said enough damning things already.
Hold it!
A man's life is on the line here, sir. This will be as long as it takes.
Don't get too clever with me now, son. My life's on the line too, and so is my family's. The likes of you wouldn't understand, but a laborer like me can't afford to take time off. If I don't work, I don't eat, and neither do the wife and kids.
Oh, I see. That must be very hard.
I go to the union every morning to find out what he's doing. If you're late and the work's taken, it's tough. This time of year, there's water and gas supply pipes bursting left, right, and center. They're after cheap labor to get the roads dug up to fix it. It's a hard slog from dawn till dusk it is.
So, you were out digging up the roads on the day of the incident as well, were you?
That's right. In fact, if I remember rightly, it was just round the corner from where it all happened. By that old bookshop it was.
What? Another coincidence?
That's right. Meerschaum Street it was.
Meerschaum Street. On the map, Mr. Naruhodo, there are only 3 named streets. Juror number 5, I need you to add that information to your formal statement, please.
What's the point of that? What's the point in that? Can't we just get this business over with now?
Please, sir, it's important.
Fine. I'll do it then.
Oh, whoops. But I can't help feeling that some of their opinions are rather subjective. I agree, it's the irrelevance of what some of them are saying that's to shiver down my spine. Still, at least some of their assertions don't actually incriminate Mr. Natsumi of anything. That's something. We must use that to our advantage, Mr. Naruhodo, cunningly. Yes, you're right. Let's listen to the jurors again, carefully. And if any of their assertions are at odds, I'll pit them mercilessly against each other. Yes, don't hold back. Put them all against each other. Well, if that street was being dug up, he couldn't have gone that way.
Objection!
Those two statements are clearly at odds with one another.
At odds, Council? Explain yourself.
Please, don't point. It wasn't me, I swear.
What? I just want to get this done and dusted.
Well, juror number 3. Oh, me, sir. What do you mean? Juror number 5's words just now are extremely significant. Let's take a moment to consider the implications of what's been said on our map of the local area. On the day in question, Mr. Natsume visited this bookshop to purchase a number of secondhand books. And on the same day, we now know that there were works being carried out on Meerschaum Street, making it impassable, which means that the defendant's route home could not have taken him along Meerschaum Street and down Bryan Road. Yes, of course. What do you think, sir?
Well, yes. You can't argue with that, really, can you? We must have had a good 2 yards or more pavement up. Every gentleman and gentlewoman that came along had to turn back and go the other way.
So the only conclusion is this. The defendant must have taken the longer route back to his lodgings. Yes, I suppose he must have.
I suppose that must be right, then, eh?
Juror number 3, you said the following. The man wouldn't have gone around the houses on his way back from the bookshop, but we see now that he had no choice.
Yes!
My lord, Mr. Judge, sir, if I may. Yes? I don't think, in all good conscience, that I can say the man's guilty now. Yes, I'd like to see this trial continue so we can get to the bottom of what really happened. What about you, sir?
Who? Me? Well, alright then. If there's a hole in the prosecution's argument, it should be filled in. That's what I say.
Well done, Mr. Hunter. That was wonderful. Well, we've managed to change a couple of minds at least. It's strengthened our position somewhat. Yes, and it will prompt the other members of the jury to reconsider their stance as well. They'll be asking themselves if their current leanings are really right or not. Now, if only we could just identify one more clue or discrepancy that would make them stop doubting Mr. Natsume, we might be able to tip the balance completely. Yes, that's exactly what we've got to do. And Zeeks is looking to bring this trial to an early conclusion. That's what we have to prevent, by whatever means we have at our disposal.
Thank you, Counsel. On with the summation examination, please.
Yes, my lord.
Hold it!
Sorry. Phil, did you say fold what? No. What I said was hold it. What I wanted to ask was, do you visit your books often?
I like the old books that they have. Yes. I enjoy reading them over a nice cup of old tea. That's my daily routine, you see. Same thing every day, including the day you're all talking about.
And at what time did you visit your books? At what time did you visit your books on the day in question?
Well, I was picnicking out books in there. I was picking out books in there all afternoon. And it would have been just before 5 that I left. That's my daily routine, you see? Same thing every day, including the day we're all talking about.
Just before 5, you say? Exactly when the victim was attacked. Are you sure about the time?
Yes, no mistake there. I remember it well. I'm not about to forget that day in a hurry. Not after the dreadful time I had.
What do you mean?
Well, I was walking down Calabash Road when I slipped on the ice and donked my head. It always was after the snow stopped falling. That's when it's most slippery. Donked myself clean out, I did. I really thought my number was up.
Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. This happened on Calabash Road?
That's right. I live in Cornpipe, you see. Heading down Calabash Road is the quickest way for me to get back from your books.
Juror number 6, I must insist. If you add that information to your formal statement, it may very well be extremely significant.
Sorry. extremely sick? No, I'm quite alright now. You've changed 2 of the Jazz minds, Mr. Naruto. Yes, just 2 more to go. Deliver the finishing blow now. It's time to turn the tables here. She knew how to do a Sasada takedown. Suppose words will have to suffice for now.
Hold it!
Oh! She could have slipped. I guess, right? Or... Oh wait, no, hold on. Oh my god, it could have been him! It could have been him!
Objection!
These 2 statements clearly show a flaw in the juror's reasoning. A flaw? What are you talking about, counsel? Well, juror number 2, juror number 6. Whatever do you mean, sir? I think perhaps the old man didn't hear you. Unbelievable. It's not like I was loud or anything. There is at least one fact of which we can be sure here. The bookshop receipt found in the defendant's room clearly indicates that on the day of the attack, he had been to your books and purchased a number of secondhand titles. He then returned home on foot. But the man says he has no recollection of his return journey. That's correct. But what he does remember is seeing someone appear in front of him on the way. Someone in a green overcoat who suddenly collapsed on the pavement before his eyes. Yes, we are well aware of this. The poor young woman who was stabbed, obviously.
Objection!
Can we really be sure of that, madam? Whatever do you mean? I'm sure you heard juror number 6's account of what happened to him that day. That same afternoon, there was somebody else apart from the victim, who was wearing a green overcoat and who fell over on the icy streets of the neighborhood. Oh my! My goodness, do you mean? That's right. I'm referring, of course, to hard of hearing juror number 6. Are you really suggesting that the person in the green overcoat who the defendant saw collapse in front of his eyes was the jolly old gentleman on the end of the bench here with me today? That is entirely possible, yes. After all, the old man has a somewhat similar build to the victim.
Well, look at that.
My goodness me. Sorry. You need a pee? And crucially, we know precisely where the old man in the green overcoat fell. On Calabash Road. Therefore, if the person who Mr. Natsume saw collapsing in front of him was in fact juror number 6, it means that the defendant must have taken the long route back to his lodgings. And if that's true, then clearly, the crime scene on Briar Road where the woman was stabbed was not on his way home. Oh my.
You idiot, old man. If you hadn't been so daft as to be roaming about there, we'd have boxed this off hours ago.
And really, what were you thinking wearing such a befuddling coat? And really, what were you thinking wearing such a befuddling coat? What did you say to me? Is it a crime for the elderly to walk the streets these days? Is it a crime to slip over on the ice? Is it a crime to keep up with the latest styles and wear a beautiful green overcoat, is it? Is it a crime to keep up with the latest styles and wear a beautiful green overcoat, is it? I don't know, anyways. My lord, I do hope it won't cause any inconvenience, but... You'd like to change your leading, I presume? I do declare that I would. I should like to call for a verdict of not guilty. Thank you. And I would too. What? Is it a crime to change your mind, is it? Well... Well, that summation examination is concluded with a rather large shift in opinion. The eyes, 2. The nose, 4. So, the nose have it. Not guilty, they say. Which means we no longer have a consensus among the members of the jury. The trial will continue.
Objection!
Could it seem churlish of me to drink from my hallowed chalice moments after raising an objection, only to crush it in disgust? Pray forgive the discourtesy. Lord Van Zieks. It seems I must retract my earlier remark. What do you mean? I mistakenly credited these jazz with intelligence by describing them as insightful. Yet we have just witnessed them falling for a cheap trick performed by an Eastern entertainer. Eh?
Whatever do you mean?
Objection!
I haven't tricked anyone. Everything I said is the truth. Indeed. Stalwart Juror number 5 was undoubtedly repairing this road, as he claims. I believe you said it was a good 2 yards of the pavement which you had excavated, sir. That's right. It took me the whole day and they paid me a measly tuppence for it. Now, my learned Nipponese friend... It's probably learn it, right? That's my learned Nipponese friend, tell me. Do you have any notion of the distance that 2 yards represents?
Well, if I'm honest, I don't have a clue now. 2 yards is a little less than 2 meters. Less than 2 meters, that's not much at all.
In other words, a distance readily vaulted by anyone of moderate vigor. Would you not agree, my stalwart friend? Me? Well, I can't say you're wrong, no. What? And did you perchance erect a sign to prevent pedestrians from passing the site of your works? I wouldn't dream of it. What a waste of time. No coaches would have a hope of passing anyway, and we just turn any gentlefolk back when they come. Kids just jump right over us all the time. The accused is no gentleman, as far as I can see. I have little doubt, however, that he could spring over a 2-yard trench in his meanderings around town.
Is that true? Is that true? Is it? Is that true? Is it?
The incontrovertible truth is that the books just purchased by the accused were found at the scene. There can be no doubt that on his way back to his lodgings, Mr. Natsume walked down Briar Road. A single sentence. And, old man.
Old man? You can talk.
You say that around 5 o'clock in the day in question, you slipped and fell on Calabash Road. Pray, was there a suspicious-looking Nipponese behind you at the time?
Oh, I can't say as I remember. You don't remember?
How about a wager, my learned friend? You say it was this old man the accused saw. But I would lay 1,000 to 1 against you being able to prove it.
Order! Lord Van Zieks, explain yourself.
My lord?
If you had such a treasured argument up your sleeve, why in the world did you not proffer it during the summation examination?
I wanted to give this young foreign student the sightseeing experience he no doubt came for. I wanted him to see for himself how the opinion of the jury is so readily swayed. But my hospitality has its limits, and they have been reached, I feel. So, my learned friend, today's sightseeing tour of London is now over.
What are you talking about?
My lord, the prosecution requests permission to call its next witnesses to the stand.
Granted. Bailiff, bring forth the witnesses. Its next witnesses?
Mr. Nahara, do you not remember? We've been told on several occasions that there were eyewitnesses to the incident.
Yes, I remember. One of them being a Scotland Yard policeman, no less.
I'm afraid it's likely to be the prosecution's next witness.
Alright, no matter who Van Zieks bring to the stand as witnesses, no matter what they say, I believe in Saseki-san. I know he's innocent, and I'll keep believing to the very end, until this battle is over.
Witnesses, please state your names and occupations for the court.
Hey, Constable Constable Rolly Beat, sir. Nothing to report on the street, sir. No, that's not right. Constable Rolly Beat, sir. Nothing to report on the street, sir.
And I'm Mrs. Beat. British is my name. And I'm proud to say I'm this young town hero's wife.
What's the story here?
Well, in truth, we've not been married long. In fact, we celebrated our first anniversary only the other day.
No. It was your husband I was asking about. He seems tired.
Hardly surprising. Us being an honorable occupation, patrolling the beach is the most demanding work in the world.
Oh, really? I'm sure I've heard that before, actually.
Indeed, apart from rare days, Alpha Gallant officers trudge some 20 miles a day, you know? They patrol boarding houses and pubs, collect taxes, surveil the streets, check the meters are reading through, and they're responsible for keeping the streets clean and lighting and extinguishing our streetlights.
There are a number of items on that list that don't sound much like policing duties at all.
I wouldn't just be falling asleep on my feet, I'd have collapsed long ago.
But it goes without saying that a policeman's primary duty is the apprehension of criminals. And when he's off duty, a constable is expected to investigate and resolve any crimes on his beat. For the London Bobby is a man of honor. And a man of slumber. On the day in question, this man and his wife were walking down Briar Road in the opposite direction, and they witnessed the incident as it occurred. Is that not correct, Mr. and Mrs. Beat?
That's right, sir. Isn't it, Rolly?
Constable Rolly Beat, sir! This is a report on the street, sir! What a great witness he's gonna be. Very good. I'd like to hear your formal testimonies now, please. You will tell the court exactly what you saw on the afternoon of the incident. Yes, sir!
It was our wedding anniversary, and Rolly was taking me out for a meal, and there was no time to change after work. Anyway, two silhouettes appeared out of the fog on the pavement in front of us. All of a sudden, one of them just collapsed to the floor, and the other scattered something before running off. They ran straight over, of course, and then went for help at a nearby police box. It was definitely that Japanese money dog. Rolly and I both saw him clear as day.
Well, this is extremely compelling testimony, I must say.
Oh dear, this policeman and his wife are claiming to have positively identified Mr. Natsume at the scene. If their testimony is true, the alternative course of events that you establish at the summation examination will be quashed.
It's death knell, in fact. Because that alternative was never viable in the first place.
What an unfortunate balancing. And on your wedding anniversary, too. Oh, I know. Oh, I know. But I still managed to go out for the evening with my man. I thank the Lord for that. Gosh, the life of a London Bobby sounds very hard indeed.
Indeed. However, this cross-examination will be over in minutes. You may well have time to rest this afternoon. What do you mean by that? My learned friend, the witnesses saw the face of the man fleeing the scene. They are testifying under oath that it was without a doubt the accused, Mr. Sasaki Natsume. And one of these witnesses is a policeman, no less. So you appreciate the gravity of the situation, I'm sure.
Except the man's so tired, his wife has to do all the talking.
Enough preamble. Counsel for the defense, commence the cross-examination, please.
Yes, my lord.
Hold it!
No time to change after work, you say? Are you also a member of the policeman's beat?
Oh, no, sadly not. It's a job for strapping young men only. Women, children, and the elderly can't even apply.
Well, I think you could probably see why children and the elderly can't do the job, can't you?
I think Roy looks ever so handsome in his uniform. It suits you down to the ground, doesn't it, darling?
What? I just finished my beat. Pash and I were heading back to the station. I was actually planning on getting changed there. Is he talking in his sleep? This is creepy.
No, Rolly. I much prefer you in uniform. Sometimes I don't recognize you when I see you in plain clothes. Oh dear, that doesn't seem healthy.
Kindly adhere to the point. You are going for a meal after you finished your beat for the day, correct? That's right, sir. Yes. Although I was fit to drop, to be honest. After spending the whole day on my feet. But policing is my life, sir. As long as I'm the proud owner of this, I'll serve my city and my queen to the end. I'll serve my city and my queen.
I'll serve my city and my queen to its end.
What's that now? My warrant card, sir. Proof that I'm a London cop. It has the noble founding principles of the force written on it as a reminder to all us policemen of our sworn duty to patrol the streets of London Town and uphold the peace of the common man. Sir, and at such a noble cause, I cover 20 miles every single day without fail and without a grumble. Because I know that the plodding of my boots is all Londoners need to feel safe and secure. So, fighting crime doesn't appear to come into it then. But sir, just on that one particular day, I was looking forward to celebrating my wedding anniversary. Mrs. Beat puts up with a lot being married to a Bobby like me, and I wanted to show my dear wife how much I care. Oh, Pat.
Oh, Ruby. Oh, what a charming couple. Their young love is such a joy to behold.
If a little over the top, perhaps. And then, kindly describe what happened next. So, I'm a little confused. Like, if there were witnesses, then by definition, then he wasn't the only person there, right? But they keep saying he's the only person there, but also that there's witnesses. So I'm a little confused. Let's see if that gets brought up somehow.
Hold it!
Two silhouettes?
That's right. They were coming towards us. looking up Briar Road in the opposite direction. It's a rather plump figure, followed by a scrawny, thin-looking man. That does sound exactly like the victim as pictured in this print, and like Mr. Natsume.
Yes, unfortunately it does. And you're certain that at the time there was nobody else nearby?
Ah, yes, quite certain. It was dark, but there are streetlights on Briar Road, you see. There was nobody else around at all. Isn't that right, my darling?
Yes, what? Oh, yes, that's right. Of course, there was a light fog on the ground. But Briar Road is dead straight, and you could see a fairly long way down the pavement. And then there's the street lighting as well. I didn't see any other pedestrians. Before sleep takes a firm hold, your answer, please, Mr. Beach. Are you quite sure of what you just said? Yes, sir! As a copper who spends all day, every day, keeping watch on the streets, I'd swear to it, sir. I'm as sure as my love for Patricia is true. Oh, Pat.
Oh, Broly.
You're still maintaining there was no one else other than the victim and the attacker. It's starting to seem like that must be how it really happened.
It's beginning to seem like there's nowhere to run.
Well, that didn't stop Mr. Natsume, did it? He fled the scene all too convincingly. Thank you. I believe we have a reasonably clear idea of the situation just before the incident now. What happened is the crucial moments that followed.
Hold it!
Scattered something? What do you mean by that?
Oh, well, I couldn't quite make out what it was at the time. But then, when we got closer, we realized what it was. Didn't we, darling?
What? Yes, that's right. It was some old books. I see, old books. Yes, sir. The culprit has dropped a number of them all around where the victim lay on the pavement. Indeed, as clearly pictured in this photographic print.
That rotten Japanese man did that when he did the deed.
Hold it!
Let's not forget that it remains to be established that the defendant was indeed the attacker. But we saw him. It was the man in the dock without question, sir. The mustache, the hunchback, the cat-like eyes, the top mouth, the snub nose. Everything. Any more insults you want to throw in?
That's right. He looked down at that poor defenseless woman with those terrifying, intense eyes, and then suddenly threw his books onto the pavement and ran away.
I see. It is tough. It seems as though they're telling the truth here. May I remind the court that this unambiguous testimony comes from a policeman and his wife. Now please, continue. Yes! Yes, sir! Yes, sir! I don't know.
Hold it!
Was it your husband who went to fetch help?
No, I went. I may not be a police officer myself, but I am the proud wife of one after all. Isn't that right, my darling?
Yes, that's right. I asked Mrs. Beat to go. It was off-duty by that point, but Bobby's never truly off-duty, of course, so I felt obliged to stay and guard the scene. Very laudable, Mr. B. Preserving the scene of a crime is a task of considerable importance. That's why I sent Patricia, you see. I told her where to find the right police box. Forgive my ignorance, but what do you mean exactly by the right police box? It depends on the crimes and casing, you see, as to who deals with it. Where the woman was stabbed wasn't actually on my beat. No, that's not a good voice for him, is it? I mean, it just doesn't feel right for him.
Where the woman was where the woman was stabbed wasn't actually on my beat. So I told Patricia the way to the police box for the beat the incident fell under so she could go and report it. I ran there as quickly as I could and asked them for help from Bobby on duty. There's nothing more potent than a young couple in love working together, you know.
And thanks to your swift response, the case was quickly resolved. The actions of two model citizens.
Oh, please, you're making us blush, isn't he, darling? Yes, sir. With Patricia said, sir. Yes, sir. What Patricia said, sir.
Let's move on, shall we?
Hold it!
But surely you wouldn't have been able to see his face by the light of the gas street lamps, would you?
We absolutely could. Us Londoners have exceptional eyesight, I'll have you know.
Right.
The light from the street lamps was more than enough. And my husband already told you that the fog was only light, didn't you?
Yes, and what of the fog?
We're famous for it across the globe, I believe. It's an absolute menace to those who have to live with it, of course. Oh, it is. When it's thick, you can't even see the hand at the end of your own arm.
Yes, alright, I take your point.
Now, could you stop shaking your husband about? Constant fog makes our eyes very sharp, you see. That's why we can tell you for sure and certain that it was a little Japanese man we saw. Can't we, darling? What? Yes, it was the accused and no mistake. The mustache, the hunchback, the cat-like eyes, the taut mouth, the snub nose. Unmistakable, sir.
As far as this couple's testimony is concerned, there can't be any question. It was Saseki-san they saw running away from the scene of the crime. That's it, is it? That's their entire testimony?
What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo?
I hate to admit it, but on hearing the testimony, it really does seem as though Mr. and Mrs. Beats saw what they say they saw. Mr. Natsumi running away from the scene on Briar Road that day.
Yes, I feel the same.
So if that's true, where does it leave us?
The members of the jury are sure to call for a guilty verdict after his testimony. Oh no, then what do we do? Your cousin somewhere here.
What are you trying to say?
I think he would try to find a contradiction somewhere else within their testimony.
What do you mean somewhere else?
That statement about seeing Mr. Natsume is unequivocal. Calling that into question won't help. But if you could identify some other part of their testimony which appears to contradict the facts, you might be able to discredit them, to make the jury doubt if the pair's memory of the day is accurate.
Oh, right.
Simply, we must focus on finding a discrepancy in these statements somewhere. If we don't, I'm afraid the trial may reach an early and unfavorable conclusion.
Why do I always seem to be up against it?
Mr. Lawyer, sir, can I ask you something?
Oh, yes, of course. What is it?
Well, you keep asking us all these questions about everything we've told you, so... It seems like you don't believe our testimony. Is that right? Is it? Well, out with it.
What? No, it's really not that at all.
My husband's a policeman, remember? And I know what I saw. I remember every last detail, everything. Like, oh, I know. What about the books the man dropped? I can tell you the names of every single one I could, every single one. And you dare to question how reliable my testimony is?
That will do, Mrs. Beat.
No, it won't do at all. That Japanese law has no idea what I'm capable of. Even if I decide to forgive him for insulting us, I don't think for a moment that Moldy will.
I really didn't mean to cause offense. Please, put your husband's fist down. Perhaps we would like the opportunity to supplement your testimony, Mrs. Beat. Make that appease you?
Oh, thank you, my lord. That would settle things nicely. Wouldn't it, darling?
Hold it!
Yes, we know that there were books dropped at the scene of the crime, as you say. These purchased by the accused at a nearby second-hand bookshop on the day in question. After I'd been to the police box for help, I decided to have a quick look over the area for good measure. I am a proud policeman's wife, after all. I did it for Rolly. And what was your husband doing at the time? Oh, he was lying face down in the snow, getting some well-deserved rest. He works ever so hard, you know. Ever so hard. Don't you, my darling? Interesting way of guarding the scene of the crime. Well, Mrs. Beat, seeing as you've regaled the court with tales of your powers of recollection, would you be so kind as to recount the titles of the books you observed at the scene? I'd be happy to. Now, are you all listening? There was The Picture of Monsieur Somebody or Other, and What's It Yearnings. Then there was A Meal for Someone, and the last one was definitely The Thingamy Something. You see? Yes, I see there are one or two holes in your memory. Oh, they were along those lines, I'm quite sure. They were indeed books found at the scene with titles along those lines, as you put it. Well, what did I tell you? So I think it's very mean the way you've been implying that my testimony can't be trusted. Don't you agree, darling? Anyone who upsets my Patricia will have to answer. Anyone who upsets my Patricia will have me to answer to. Terrifying. Yes, she really is. So that's it, is it? Oh. Okay, so I can't apparently look at the titles of the books, it just Wait a second. Wait a second. 4 books.
Objection!
Guys, I would just like to take a quick break. My voice is getting a little sore. I'm doing all these different voices. So I will be back in just a few minutes. I'm just gonna take a little break, rest my voice just for a few minutes. I'll be back in, 5 to 10 minutes, probably, but probably sooner than that. It's just gonna take. I just want just a moment, so that I'm not gonna be ruining my voice. Be back soon. And if you're here, get your own little thing. Take care of yourself. I will be back in just a few minutes. Sorry for the delay, or the break, or whatever you want to call it. I just, needed a minute or two, or however many minutes it was. Looks like might have been like 10 or something. Well, I'm here now. Let's keep going. So you're saying that there were 4 books?
That's right. I remember all of them. Picture of Mondra somebody, what's it earnings, a meal for someone, and the thingamy something. I'm sorry, Miss Beat, but there is a fundamental flaw in that statement of yours. Oh no, what flaw?
Simply that at the scene of the crime, there were only 3 books, not 4.
What?
Have a good look at this photographic print of the scene of the crime. As you can clearly see, there are only 3 books.
But no, that can't be. I saw them. Oh, I know what it is. Yes, you can't fool me.
Sorry?
It's that big long lump of a dead body. A lady so large, her corpse is blocking the view of the 4th book, that's all.
Let's at least try to remember that the poor woman isn't dead, even if we're insulting her size. No, I'm sorry, Mrs. Beat. But Mr. Natsume could not possibly have dropped the 4 books you described.
Why not?
Fascinating. And from your assured tone, something you can readily substantiate with evidence, I presume. Evidence. Counsel, you will present evidence to substantiate your claim or withdraw it. What proof do you have that the accused did not drop 4 books?
Take that!
The evidence is right here, in the form of this bookshop receipt. From your books? Yes, this receipt details Mr. Natsume's purchases that day, but as you can see, only 3 books are listed.
No.
Therefore, Mr. Natsume would only have dropped 3 books at the scene of the crime. Which means that your powers of observation, madam, cannot be relied upon. So, it cannot be denied that though you say it was the defendant you saw, you could very well be mistaken.
Oh, no, no.
Objection!
It's plainly evident that it is your powers of deduction that cannot be relied upon, my learned deputy's friend. What? What cannot be denied is that these 2 witnesses saw the accused running from the scene. A fact you know very well you have no hope of disproving. So you've striven to avert attention from that by dint of some inconsequential discrepancies. Would that be fair? Sees right through me. But your plan is somewhat recoiled against you. What are you talking about? It's quite simple. Let me explain with a toast. To the policeman's wife and her entirely accurate testimony in every respect.
Oh.
You see, the matter is not up for debate. At the scene on Briar Road, a total of 4 books were most definitely found.
Objection!
But what about the photographic print? It only shows 3 books. Quite right. Only 3 can be seen in that print. That print? You mean to say... Allow me to present another. One that shows the victim's hand. I don't believe it. It's the 4th book. As you will observe, the 4th book was hidden from view in the original print by the victim's torso. No. No! Order! There.
Do you see? Look at that. Look.
Yes,
It's just like I said, isn't it, my darling?
Yes, sir. Patricia's always right, sir.
Let us study the receipt for the books purchased by the accused in the day in question. Mrs. Beat, the titles once again, if you please.
Oh, yes, of course. The picture of Monsieur somebody.
The picture of Monsieur Lacroix.
What's it, yearnings?
Canterbury yearnings.
A meal for someone?
A meal for Gabbro, in fact. As the court has just heard, the witness remembers the book titles flawlessly, save for a few minor details. Mrs. B's powers of recollection can only be described as exceptional.
Did you hear that, Willie? The gentleman paid me a compliment.
Yes, sir. Flawless, sir. Patricia is flawless.
But there are only 3 books on the receipt, and Mrs. Beat mentioned 4.
There's nothing surprising about that. Clearly, the 4th book is that which is showed in this photographic print.
I'm sorry, counsel, but does that not seem odd? Why should the 4th book be omitted from the receipt?
It's not hard at all, my lord. As the photograph clearly shows, the 4th book was found in the victim's clutches. In other words, it belongs to the victim.
The victim was holding her own book? I wonder, what became of that 4th book?
Obviously, it wasn't overlooked by the investigating officers at Scotland Yard. I have it here as evidence.
You will submit that and the aforementioned photographic print to the court, please, counsel.
My pleasure, my lord. Prosecution rests. I have nothing further to add. What? You seem surprised, my learned friend. Your resistance until now has been in vain. Entertaining, yes, was that you tried to establish in your summation examination, and the attempted discrediting of the witness's powers of recollection in your cross-examination. Futile. I walked right into this, didn't I?
You see, everything we've said is true. Isn't that right, my darling?
Yes, Bat. Marry me, Bat.
So, perhaps the ladies and gentlemen of the jury would like to
Oh wait, no, hold on. So, perhaps the ladies and gentlemen of the jury would like to reconsider their positions. Should the court waste any more time on this Nipponese travesty? Or is the decision you have to make all too apparent already? You have heard all of the witnesses and seen all of the evidence. This trial has run its course.
Mr. Naruto, I'm afraid we're in a terribly precarious position.
I know, but if I fight back in the wrong way now, I could very well just make matters worse.
Think, Renisuke, think. What do we do now?
Let's save. That's what we do now. We use our powers of protagonism.
Oh, look at this. The book is badly burnt.
You're right, you'd never be able to read it in this state, especially not the latter pages.
What a terrible waste. Judging from the scorched edges of this paper, I think the damage must have occurred very recently. A book. Recently damaged by fire. Why does that seem to raise a red flag with me?
I'm not done yet. No, my learned friend. It's over. That last cross-examination was your final chance to establish a credible defense, and you failed. The die has been cast. There is no more room for debate. Well, it might be over as far as you're concerned, but... I can't think of what to say. If I may, Lord Van Zieks, it seems somewhat boorish to close down the debate at this point. Your insignificant little Eastern Isle must be a lawless hole indeed, for a lowly judicial system to have the audacity to intervene at a moment like this. I am, to my shame, still a very inexperienced lawyer, so you will have to forgive me, but I consider my assistant's advice essential and her opinions invaluable. One of this land's great guiding principles is tolerance, so the court will hear you better. Go ahead, Mr. Sato, please. Very well, very well. Pray, what insight can you give us? What have we all overlooked in this matter that you see fit to pursue further? Well, the court has been presented with new evidence, but only after the last cross-examination finished. I see. I do believe that this new evidence warrants further examination, do you? Mr. Nahodo, what do you think? It's just possible that this new evidence might be the decisive proof we've been waiting for. The judge is sure to ask the members of the jury to pronounce their leanings in a moment. And of course, he's sure to ask you to explain what the crucial piece of evidence is and why. So we must take this opportunity to examine the newly presented evidence as thoroughly as possible. Yes, I understand. And thank you, Mr. Sato. This is it. Hisato-san has managed to win us one last chance here. I can't let it go to waste. The defense wishes to present evidence, my lord. Very, very well. The defense may present one further piece of evidence. Evidence that apparently offers a profound insight into this case and has hitherto been overlooked. Oh, I remember now. What it was, Mr. Garadeb, this was his favorite book. And they had the fire in their room. That's what this is.
Take that!
The evidence in question is what we could see from the newly presented photographic print of the crime scene. Fourth book, found in the victim's hand.
Objection!
We've already discussed the fourth book at length. Other than it being in the victim's grasp at the time of the incident, no significance has been attached to it. Pursuing the matter further would be a flagrant waste of this court's time, as you well know. Yes, I'm afraid, counsel, I must concur with the prosecution on this matter. When I afforded you this opportunity, you led the court to believe that the evidence in question contained a hitherto undiscovered clue. So I must insist that you elaborate, counsel. You will identify this clue at once. Do I make myself clear? Oh, yes, my lord. It's,
Hello. I believe the prosecution is trying to avoid a thorough examination of the evidence. Which means you may very well be on the right track. Yes, I think you might be right. So, counsel, precisely what is the vital clue to this case, which this fourth book conceals?
Got it!
I would ask the court to observe the back of the book in question. The back? What do you... Good gracious. It's been burnt to a crisp. So we have to ask ourselves, why was the victim clutching what is clearly an unreadable book? It is so undeniably an extremely unnatural thing for her to have been doing.
Objection!
Unnatural, you say? And what of it, my Nubity's friend?
Oh, Well, I do concede the point. If it bears no relation to the case, there's nothing to discuss. So, should you wish to assert that this fire damages some veiled clue as to what happened that day, pray, do enlighten us all. What truth does this charred book hide? Charred book. There's just one possibility here, which I can't quite bring myself to rule out. It's an outside chance, certainly, but worth a try. Alright, I'll explain my theory. Don't keep us waiting any longer then, Council. Explain this theory of yours. What are you suggesting that you can ascertain from the fire damage the Saitone has suffered? My lord, the burn on the back of this book reveals a startling truth about the book's owner. I beg your pardon. I already know who the book belongs to. The victim was gripping it in her hand as she fell to the floor after all. It's obviously hers. The question of how this book came to be in the victim's hand has yet to be answered. However, as to the question of who the book really belongs to, and where it originated, the defense has very credible answers. Good gracious, how would you possibly... Very well. I'll play along with this futile attempt to delay your inevitable demise. But do remember, the members of the jury may well burn you if your little gamble goes awry. Counsel, the defense's response here is very likely to influence the final outcome of this trial. So tell the court, who do you claim is the owner of this burnt book?
Take that!
The answer is that the book belongs to the couple who own the house where the defendant has his lodgings. A certain Mr. and Mrs. Garadev, the landlords. And whether this is some extraordinary coincidence or some kind of fate at work, I don't know. But of all the people in London, one of the 6 chosen for jury duty in this courtroom today is none other than Mrs. Garadev herself. Oh my goodness. I think you must be mistaken, sir. I'm not Mr. Garadev's wife. I'm his maid. Things would be so much easier if you would just drop the pretense. Alright then, how about a simple question for you? Have you ever seen this book in Mr. Garadev's house? I would never presume to know all of the books he keeps,
Objection!
This is outlandish behavior. The woman is the accused landlady, you say. You implicate this hard-working member of the public. You besmirch her without a shred of evidence. Your actions are unforgivable.
Objection!
This is not mere conjecture. The defense happens to know that on the day in question, at almost the exact same time as the victim was stabbed on the pavement below, another incident was taking place in the room on the top floor of Mr. and Mrs. Garadev's house. Good lord, what sort of incident, Counsel? A fire, my lord.
Afraid to say it was. Up in the blink of an eye, you know. The whole place filled with smoke.
No, hold on. What was Mr. Garadev's voice?
The whole place was filled with smoke. Couldn't see a bolly thing. Didn't take long for the fire to spread, of course. Bolly furniture started going up as well.
Worst of it is, I lost my favorite book. Worst of it is, I lost my favorite. A book called The Lion's Bride. The Lion's Bride. By Jove! The very same title that's the subject of this debate. Oh, dear me.
Objection!
This is risible. All you've told the court is that a book by the same name was involved in a fire, in which case it would be reasonable to assume that it was burnt to ashes. Entirely unreasonable to infer that it magically removed itself to the scene of the crime. Perhaps it would make more sense if I told you that the cause of the fire was marital discord. Without going into details, it appears that Mrs. Garadev was considerably enraged. Apparently, she continued to attack Mr. Garadev even amid the flames. How awful. can't even imagine being so horrid to the one you love. Can you know?
Absolutely not, sir. My Patricia would never raise a finger against me, sir.
I had all my favorite old novels in their case, but as soon as the fire got a hold of them, that was it. Whoosh, up in smoke. Then the wife started hurling things at me. There was I, back up against the window under heavy enemy fire. Incendiary books incoming 10 to the dozen.
The man had his back up against the window, and he had burning books thrown at him. Goodness gracious, are you suggesting that the book was thrown through a window and landed coincidentally at the scene of the crime?
Objection!
No. Thorough investigation of the surrounding area was conducted at the very evening of the incident. There was no report of the Gyarados window pane being broken.
That's quite true. We also saw no sign of broken glass when we visited the Gyarados household. But it is not conceivable that the window was open at the time? Not even remotely. Let's not forget the season and the chilling weather that accompanies it. No Londoner would ever leave a window open in the middle of winter. Does the defense postulate this scenario in all seriousness, Counsel? Do you earnestly claim that the book found at the scene was a flaming projectile thrown by Mr. Gyarados' wife? I believe it's a possibility, my lord.
That's quite enough. Who is this?
That's quite enough. Well, I hope that everyone can see you for what you are now, you little foreign trickster. Don't call yourself a lawyer, but you're just a coward. A mean coward.
Really?
Claiming that our little tips set the whole neighborhood alight, honestly. Implying that I'm merely posing as a maid for appearance's sake. How could you? It has nothing to do with this beastly case, not any of it. All you have done is sully our family's name.
No, I assure you that was never my intention.
Dragging an upstanding citizen's name through the mud simply to divert attention from your failing defense. I should box your ears, that's what I should do. It's utterly unforgivable.
Too right.
Here we go.
How long have we sat here now, listening to this nippity spouting out his fancy-formed theories? But, think about it. At the end of the day, the only person who could possibly have stabbed the victim is that little hunchback with the mustache. And he ran away from the scene, too.
I do declare you're right.
It's true.
Yes, what did I tell you?
Makes sense to me.
Sorry. What's that?
Well,
it would appear that the ladies and gentlemen of the jury are once again in full agreement.
What is your position, Lord Van Zieks? In truth, my lord, I feel these have been unnecessarily protracted proceedings. But then one must always exercise patience in order to save for the best vintage. No, wait! The mystery of the fourth book still hasn't been... If books are your predilection, my learned friend, study them on your own time. What? No, forgive the discourtesy this time?
In that case, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will now state your individual decisions regarding the defense's culpability for the court to hear.
Guilty!
Guilty.
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 Guilty!
Guilty.
Thank you for that unambiguous response. It's twice now, it's over.
Mr. Naharu, can't give up. Mr. Sano, have you forgotten? The battle isn't over yet.
You're not suggesting...
Of course. The defense has the right to another summation examination at this point. You could still give its jurors to change their minds. You have one more chance.
My lord, the defense has to exercise its right to a summation examination. You believe you still have tricks up your sleeve. I don't intend to trick anybody. I intend to uncover the truth. This is no time to be downcast. As long as there's a chance, I have to stay strong and determined. Okay. Well, since we've gone an hour and 52 minutes, and this is a good place to stop, I guess that's where we will stop. I think for my voice acting Radius Attorney streams, I think I'm going to start working in a break at the hour mark, just to give myself a little bit of a break, my voice a little bit of a break. I think that's probably an intelligent idea for me. So that is what I will be doing going forward on Thursdays. Just giving myself a little bit of a break at the hour mark. But thank you so much to everyone who was here and everyone who wasn't here, and all you guys. I love you all. You're great. I appreciate you very, very much. And